I have a question here from Caroline. Have you worked with someone who has rejected the trance process? If so, were you able to successfully help them into state? Well, think about this. You can only reject something if you know that it's there. If you're working traditionally with direct hypnosis, it's very obvious that what you're doing. Okay, so a client can resist or reject it. But if you're an Ericksonian, your inductions can be so indirect that the client doesn't know that you've started to induce hypnosis. It's pretty rare if someone's starting to go into trance that they bring themselves out and reject it, because by the time they have that awareness they're going in, they know it's safe, they feel it's okay. So it's quite rare for that to happen. But let's look at that, because it's a real phenomenon that we are presented with, in our practice. Let me give you an example to describe how I would work with this. In fact, based on someone I work with. I had a woman come to see me. She had been to several hypnotherapists and had failed to go into hypnosis. And then she came to me. Now, you might think, well, that's scary, because now you're going to be the next one, that falls by the wayside. But no, it's an advantage. Do you know why? Because why would she continue coming to hypnotherapists? She believes that she can be hypnotized. Okay, so really the reason she hadn't gone in is because of the hypnotherapists that were trying to help her. They were probably very direct, but she still had to believe that she could experience hypnosis. Otherwise, she wouldn't be coming back. So it means here we have someone who believes in hypnosis. We just need to turn it around and get her on our side. So what I did, I just took a little gamble, and I said to her, I think I know why you didn't go into hypnosis. And she said, why was that? I said, I bet you every one of those hypnotherapists told you to relax. She said, yes, they did. I said, well, I think you're quite relaxed already. And it's difficult to get you to relax more because you're actually too relaxed. I said, for me, you're too relaxed, which means I've got nothing to work with. You will not notice any difference because you're so relaxed at the moment. In fact, I prefer for you to be really anxious, because if you're anxious, I have raw materials to work with and I can work with that, but you're not anxious enough. Okay. So of course, this reversed the whole process. This is not what she was expecting. So I said, well, can you become more anxious for me? Now to consciously become more anxious, you have to be acting and role playing, right? So she tries to get anxious, and so I help her out a little bit. I say, well, shake your hands like this, let's see some real anxiety. And she's doing that. I said, well, can you do it a bit more like this, a bit more anxiety, please? And she's doing it. As she's moving her hands like this, I'm starting to talk to her now. I said, yeah, that's it. I can work with that. And have you noticed how one hand is shaking less than the other? And then one hand is getting lower, and the other one seems to be lifting towards your face. And she's going, yes. I said, okay, well, just allow that hand to keep on shaking, moving towards your face. But whatever you do, don't go into hypnosis until that hand touches your face. So she said, I won't, okay. Okay, so the hand goes up. As soon as it touches her face, boom, down into trance. So it's a process of observation and utilization. So I'm utilizing her resistance, if you like, by turning it around, creating a new context for it. I knew she'd be a good hypnotic subject because she keeps coming back and expecting to be hypnotized. It's like even when you get some people and say, oh, you can never hypnotize me. Oh, no, you're never going to hypnotize me. Oh, it can't be done. What they're saying is they really, really believe they can be hypnotized because they're having to push you away. That's a good sign. So when you have a client that seems resistant, it's often because they really believe they can be hypnotized. And so you have the raw materials there. You just have to create the context where you can make it happen. And that's exactly what I did with this particular woman. And she ended up being an extremely good hypnotic subject. I had her hallucinating things. I had her hallucinating auditory things and sounds and things like this. and getting all kinds of phenomena out of her. So it's a good example how she was a good hypnotic subject. So Caroline, I hope that helps. Really you just have to kind of push through the barriers of what we're taught in traditional hypnotherapy training, push through those barriers and think, what can I do that's completely unusual or off the wall, and experiment. And regarding that, I was teaching last night to one of my groups, and I was telling them about the first 4 collected papers of Milton H. Erickson. That's not telling you how to do hypnosis, but they're all Erickson's research papers when he was finding out for himself what he could do with hypnosis. They are brilliant, because when I first started, I couldn't get anything about Erickson, only those papers. And so I would look at these papers, and if he'd done a session on negative hallucination where he'd made someone not be able to see something that was actually there, made something invisible, I'd think, okay, well, he did that, I'll have a go. I was naive enough to think, I'll have a go. I can do that. Erickson do it, I can do it. And all my clients that week will get the same. They all have negative hallucinations. So experiment with your clients, because that's how you learn to be original and creative and find your way around situations like you've suggested here, Caroline. Okay, well, I hope that's answered your question. Thank you very much for that. It's a very good question. I now